because to solve this n mesh current variables you need n simultaneous equations. Okay, so let us say we are having this circuit, right? So you see there are two meshes, I1 and I2. Okay, there are two meshes. Now, so this small I1 and small I2, these two are the mesh currents, and capital I1, capital I2 and capital I3, we have taken these three as the branch currents. Okay, and you are given two independent voltage sources, right? So if you look at loop 1, if you look at this loop, okay, this loop, the first loop, then only small I, forget about this I1, I2 and I3 for now. Okay, forget about this I1, I2 and I3 for now. Okay, so forget about these, forget about all this, just concentrate on small I1 and small I2. Okay, so you see through I1 the current flowing is small I1, through R1 the current flowing is small I1. The current flowing through R3, I1 is flowing in this direction. Okay, I1 in this direction, I2 in the reverse direction. Am I right? I2 will be flowing in this direction, I1 will be flowing in the downward direction. Okay, so therefore the total current through R3 is I1 minus I2. So the current through R1 is small I1, the current through R3 is small I1 minus small I2, and the current through R2 is small I2. And you have the voltage sources. So what we will do, we will first apply KVL in this equation or in this loop. Then we will apply KVL in this loop. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
But I think your screen is frozen because your cursor is not moving.
Okay. Just a minute. Is this changing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when I am talking about this loop, see this I1 current is flowing through R1. The current through R3 is small I1 minus small I2, because I1 will be flowing in the from B to E and I2 will be flowing from E to B. So first, one of the most important things for mesh analysis is that when you are considering the mesh currents, the direction of the mesh currents should be in the same direction. That means the direction of the mesh currents that you are considering should be in the same direction for all the meshes. That is, if I am taking I1 to be flowing in this direction, that is in clockwise direction, I have to consider that I2 is also flowing in the clockwise direction. Okay, so for this element R3, your small I1 is flowing from B to E, and the current I2 is flowing from E to B. So in the reverse direction as that of I1. So the resultant current across R3 will be small I1 minus small I2. Okay. So now if you write the KVL equations. So what is KVL equations? That means we have to write everything in terms of voltage. So that means when I am expressing a voltage across any element, say R1, capital R1, the voltage there will be small I1 multiplied by capital R1. That will be the voltage across R1. The voltage across R3 will be the resultant current, that is small I1 minus small I2, because I1 is flowing in this direction, I2 is flowing in the upward direction from E to B. So the resultant current across R3 is small I1 minus small I2. So the voltage across R3 will be small I1 minus small I2 multiplied by R3. Right? And the current through capital R2 will be only small I2. Okay, So the voltage across capital R2 will be small I2 multiplied by capital R2. Right? So this is about the current, that is the voltage drops or the voltages developed across each circuit element due to the mesh currents. Okay. Now let us consider the voltages. So what happens to the voltages? So you please look at the first loop. So if the current is flowing in the clockwise direction, okay, so the current in the voltage source V1 will be flowing from F to A. The current in the voltage source V1 will be flowing from F to A, that is from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. Right? If you are considering this is the direction of the current flow, then the current in the voltage V1 will be flowing from the negative to the positive direction. So that means we will express V1 as minus V1 because the current direction is reversed. So the voltage will be expressed as minus V1. But if you consider in loop 2, I2 is flowing from plus terminal to minus terminal, which should be the actual convention. So that is why V2 will be considered as positive and V1 will be considered as negative. Right? So we are writing down the KVL equations for mesh 1 and mesh 2. So for mesh 1, if you closely look at that, for mesh 1, what the KVL equation states that the summation of the voltages will be equal to 0. So for mesh 1, the equation becomes minus V1 plus I1 R1 plus I1 minus I2 into R3. See, minus V1 plus R1 into small I1 plus R3 into small I1 minus I2, that is equal to 0. Okay, rearranging this because you know R1, R2, R3 and you know V1. So what are our unknowns? Small I1 and small I2. Okay. So this is the mesh equation for mesh 1. Now what should be the mesh equation for mesh 2? Let's see what will be the mesh equation. What are the voltages developed? One is I2 R2. For here, small I2 multiplied by capital R2. The voltage will be plus V2. And for R3, this will be the reverse. That is I2 minus I1 into R3. So that would be the voltage across R3. So we are writing all this. That is R2I2 plus V2 plus R3 into small I2 minus I1 equals to 0. We are again rearranging this in terms of I1 and I2. We are expressing the simultaneous equation in terms of these two unknowns, I1, I2, and we are getting this equation. Okay. So next what you can do, you can solve the equation on your own, right, by simultaneously, or you can opt for the matrix method. So for the matrix method, this will be the resistance matrix multiplied by the output matrix. Here the output matrix is I1, I2, and that is equal to the input matrix, that is equals to V1 and minus V2. So as you are writing this will be the equation. You can solve it by simultaneous equation method, or you can solve it by matrix method. Now when I am considering the matrix method, you can solve the matrix by inversing the matrix or by Cramer's rule. Cramer's rule, you remember, that is the determinant method. We found out the determinant of the matrix and then we replaced one of the columns with the constant terms, and then we calculated again the determinant, and then we divided D1 divided by D, and we found out the value of X, Y, and Z. Okay, so that was the Cramer's rule. So you can solve this by Cramer's rule as well as matrix inverse method. And once you have identified the mesh currents, you can calculate the branch currents. So what will be our branch current? I1, capital I1. This will be equal to small I1. Capital I2 will be equal to small I2, and capital I3 will be equal to small I1 minus small I2. Okay. So here your unknowns are the loop currents. You have to calculate that to get the other parameters. Is this clear? Those who were not there in
Yes,
Friday?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is about the mesh analysis. Okay. So you see here again, a problem has been given. So you can try out the problem. You can just frame the equations for this problem. So if I consider the loop 1, okay, for loop 1 you see this will be minus 15 volt plus 5 small I1 plus 10 into small I1 minus I2. Okay, and other than this you have an additional voltage here. This is the plus 10 volt. So this plus 10 volt is placed here. Okay, so you are having an additional voltage source here. So this is for loop 1. This is minus 15 plus 5 small I1 plus 10 into small I1 minus I2 plus 10. 10 means for this value. Okay, and for loop 2 it will be 6 into I2 plus 4 into I2 minus 10 plus 10 into I2 minus I1. So this is your mesh 2. Then again you find the values and you can calculate it by anything, by substitution method, by simultaneous equation, by matrix method, whichever is easier for you. Okay. So these are few more examples that we discussed last day. I am not going through them again. I have shared this. You can go through them, and if you are having any doubt, you can ask me. What I will move on to next is what happens if there is a current source for mesh analysis. Okay, so say there can be two cases. If there are current source, there can be two cases. See, when I talked about the node analysis with voltage sources, you remember we talked of two cases. One case was that if you have the voltage source placed between the reference node and the non-reference node. In that case, the voltage at the non-reference node was equal to that of the voltage source, and you had one variable lesser to calculate. Okay, and when the voltage source was placed between two non-reference nodes, we turned the entire thing as a super node. Right? So this was all about the nodal analysis part. Now when I am talking about the mesh analysis part, right? When I am talking about the mesh analysis part, if you see in a problem that there are only resistances and only voltage sources, you go for mesh analysis. Okay. And if in a problem you see there are current sources and resistances, you go for nodal analysis. Okay. But if there are mixed cases, so see in this case, for this case, you have a mesh having an independent voltage source as well as an independent current source. Right? So when I am talking about this loop, when I am talking about loop 2, where the current is equal to I2, okay, so what will be the value of I2? Because you are already having a current of 5 ampere shown here, and this direction is shown as opposite to that of I2, that means you already have the value of I2, and this will be equal to minus 5 ampere. Am I clear? So this is one case of mesh analysis with current source, where the current source can be placed in any one of the independent loops. This is a case where the current source can be placed in one of the independent loops. So when you are having the current source in one of the independent loops, so therefore this current I2 will be equals to minus 5 ampere. Okay. But the second case is if you are having this current source in between the two loops. So that means if it is placed in this part, okay, if it is placed in this part, see this part. So this case is called as a super mesh. This case is called as a super mesh. So when you are having a current source in between two loops or in between two meshes, that is a super mesh. So what you can do, you are already having one constant equation for this 6 ampere, because you see your I1 is flowing from top to bottom, that is in the clockwise direction through this source. I1 is flowing from this point to this point. I2 will be flowing from this point to this point. So you already have the constant equation as I2, because the direction of the current source is same as that of the mesh current. So I2 minus I1 is equal to 6. Okay. So you are already having one constant equation with the current source and the two individual loop currents. The other equation, okay, you will get by considering this entire circuit or as a super mesh. So what is a super mesh? That is it when it is having a current source common to both the meshes, you can eliminate the resistance, this circuit element. You can eliminate this circuit element because you already know the current through this circuit element. So you can eliminate this. So what you are left with is a bigger loop. You see, you are left with a bigger loop. Okay. So when I am having the mesh analysis with the super meshes, so this is a condition. So you had two loops initially. What you are left with is a bigger loop, a loop 3, and you can drop the one of the meshes because you already have one equation as I1 minus I2 as that current. Okay, so you are left with an entire loop, and you know the currents through each of the circuit elements in the loop. So I1 will be flowing through this, I2 will be flowing through this, I2 will be flowing through this. So you can form the equations. I will show you for this figure itself. So what I am saying, so your one of your equations will be, it can be I2 minus I1 as 6 or I1 minus I2 as minus 6. This can be one of your equations. And the other equation is 6I1 plus 10I2 plus 4I2 is equal to 20. This is the other loop equation. 6I1 plus 10I2 plus 4I2 minus 20 is equal to 0, or 6I1 plus 14I2 is equal to 20. So we are considering one of the equations by considering this as a single loop or a single super mesh, and the other is obtained through this current source, the constant through this current source. So basically you are getting again, see, two equations to solve I1, I2. But what is the help? You can eliminate this circuit element. You can eliminate the circuit elements in the branches that is consisting the current source common to both the meshes. Is this clear? Super mesh?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, why sir minus 6 is there? I1 minus I2.
Okay, see, I1 is flowing from top to bottom, and the I2 is flowing from bottom to top. Okay, and what is the direction of 6 ampere given? See, I1 is flowing from this point to this point. Okay, this is the direction of I1. So this will flow from this point to this point. I1 is flowing in this direction, and I2 is flowing in this direction. Correct? So I1 in this, I2 in this, but what is the what is the direction of the 6 ampere given? This is given in the upward direction. So when you are writing as I1 minus I2, I1 minus I2, as the direction of 6 ampere is in the reverse direction that of I1, so we are writing this as minus 6. If the equation was I2 minus I1, we should have written 6 ampere. But as we are considering this current I1, we are calculating the equation on this base. Okay, so that is why we are considering the direction of I2 as well negative, and this 6 ampere is given also in the opposite direction that of I1, so this is also considered as minus 6. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So any questions from super mesh? Okay, so I will show you another problem, so which is a bigger super mesh. So let us say here you had 4 loops, right? You had 4 loops. Out of the 4 loops, you see this 5 ampere current is common to loop 1 and loop 2. Okay, and this 3I0, this is common to I2 and I3, that is loop 2 and loop 3. So 5 ampere is common to loop 1 and loop 2. 3I0, this is common to loop 2 and loop 3. Okay, so basically we can, under these circumstances, we can consider these 3 meshes as a super mesh. These 3 mesh will be a super mesh. Together this will be a super mesh. So you see, you already have 2 constant equations. One is I1 minus I2, another is I2 minus I3. You already have. So, sorry, your equations become I1 minus I2 as 5 ampere for these two, I1 minus I2 as minus 5 for these two, I2 minus I3, this should be minus 3 I4, I2 minus I3 as minus 3 I4. Why I'm writing this as minus 3 I4? Can you tell me? See, this is a dependent current source, right? This dependent current source is dependent upon this current, this supply current I0. What is the direction of I4? Your I4 is flowing in this direction. So your I0 will be actually minus I4. I0 will be your minus I4. So this becomes I2 minus I3 as minus 3 I4. I2 minus I3 will be 3 I0, that is minus 3 I4. Is this clear or should I repeat?
Sir,
Just,
please repeat once more.
okay, see, I2 minus I3 is 3 into capital I0. Because I2 is flowing in this direction and your I3 is flowing in this direction, right? So your I2 minus I3 is 3 I0. Now look at this mesh. So here I4 is flowing in this direction. Okay, this is the direction of I4. So your I4 is in the reverse direction of that of I0. So your I4 will be equal to minus I0 or I0 will be equal to minus I4. So when you are replacing I0, because I0, you do not need I0 because you already have your 4 unknown variables. So you need to express I0 in terms of I4. So your I0 will be minus I4. Okay, so this was I2 minus I3 equals to 3 I0, and we are replacing I0 with minus I4. So this is I2 minus I3 is equal to minus 3 I4. Okay, is this clear now? You understood this? I1 minus I2 as 5 ampere, because I1 was in this direction and your I2 is in this direction. So if I am writing I1 minus I2, this will be equal to minus 5. Okay. When I am writing I2 minus I3, this will be equal to 3I0, and 3I0 means I0 is minus I4, so it is minus 3I4. And 8 into I, and this equation, the last equation, is for this portion of the loop. Okay, 2I4 flowing from this plus 10 into 8I4 minus I3, and this is for this entire loop. So 2I1 plus 4I3 plus 8I3 minus I4 plus 6I2, that is equal to 0. So this first equation is considering this as the entire loop. The first equation is by considering this as the entire loop. Second and third equation are just the constant equation based on the currents, and the fourth equation or the fourth loop is based on this equation, 8I3 minus I4 plus 2I4 plus 10 is equal to 0. Just this equation. Any questions from Super Mesh? See, is this clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this was all about your mesh analysis. So then we are moving on to the next topic that we discussed, that is your superposition theorem. Okay, we are moving on to the next topic, that is your superposition theorem. Okay. Okay, just a minute. Just let me open the PDF. Okay, so first tell me, what is the statement of the superposition theorem? First tell me the statement of the superposition theorem. Those who were not present last day, because I think you have done this in your basic electrical. Okay, so the superposition theorem states that in a linear bilateral network containing multiple number of independent sources, the current or the voltage across any branch in the network will be equal to the algebraic sum of the currents or voltage of each individual source considered separately, with all the other sources replaced by their internal resistances. Right? So this was their superposition theorem. So this is in a linear bilateral network. In a linear bilateral network containing multiple number of sources, the current or the voltage across any particular branch is the algebraic sum of the individual currents and voltages considering individual independent sources separately, with all the other sources replaced by their internal resistances. So this was your superposition theorem statement. So that means if I am considering the voltage across any component, this is the algebraic sum of the voltage across the component due to each independent source. Similarly, the current will be also the summation of the current considering each independent source. Okay. And two more things are important here. One is a linear, another is a bilateral. So what is a linear network? What did we discuss? Linear network should be a network consisting of the resistances, capacitances, or the inductance. That means any network that follows Ohm's law. That is a linear network. And bilateral network means it is consisting of the bilateral elements, that is allowing current flow in both the directions. Okay, so what are the steps? So first you have to turn off all the independent sources except one. You select any one source and you turn off all the independent source and replace all the other sources by their internal resistances. Now you redraw the circuit considering only one independent source. Okay. Now you calculate the voltage and currents across each branch by considering that independent source only. Right? Now what you do, you turn off that independent source and you turn on the other independent source. So you turn off this active independent source after you have calculated the individual voltages and currents across each branch, and you turn on another independent source, and at that point of time you turn off this active independent source and you repeat the steps. So you repeat all the steps, that is by turning on only one independent source, turning off the others, replacing them by their internal resistances. All this you continue after you have done it for all the sources, and then you algebraically sum the component currents or the component voltage across the each branch. While you are doing this, you need to keep one thing in mind, that if the direction of the current is opposite to that of the current flowing in the for one source, it is flowing in from the positive terminal to negative terminal. For another source, it is flowing in the reverse direction as the previous current. So the algebraic sum will be I1 minus I2. So that you have to keep in mind. Okay, that you have to keep in mind. The next thing is how you turn off the independent sources. So when I am talking about a voltage source, this should be replaced by a short circuit wire or something, that is voltage sources should be replaced with short circuit. That means the part of the circuit which was consisting the voltage source will be represented as a short circuit. That is, there will be no voltage there but current will flow. But when it's a current source, this will be replaced by an open circuit. That is, there will be voltage but there will be no current. So this is how you turn off. And the second most important thing for superposition theorem is, once you select a direction for current to flow through a component, the direction of the polarity for the voltage across the component and to calculate the values must be same in all subsequent circuits. Must be same in all subsequent circuits. So if you are taking the voltage source plus and minus for one independent source, so the flow of current will be same for all the other sources, even if you turn off the other sources. Okay, so this is an consideration of the superposition theorem. Okay, so one more thing I would just like to tell you, that superposition theorem is applicable for both AC and DC. For both AC and DC, superposition theorem is applicable. For now, we will be just doing the DC circuits. Later in the syllabus, we will be doing superposition theorem or network theorems for AC circuits as well. So for now, we are just doing DC circuits, but superposition theorem is applicable for both AC and DC. You just need to keep in mind that the current and the voltage must be linearly related by Ohm's law, and this must consist of only bilateral elements. Okay. So let us consider this problem. So we have discussed this problem last day. So I am doing it this for the, so okay, so any questions from superposition theorem, anybody, before we discuss this problem? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, so Priyanshu, is this clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move on to this question, right? So you see this problem. So here you see you are having three independent sources, right? So this is one independent source, this is one independent source, this is one independent source, and you are having three individual loops as well here. You are given three resistances. So what we will do, we'll first consider only this voltage source, okay, and we will open circuit this two. So no current is flowing through this, no current is flowing through this. So you are just left with this part of the circuit, right? So this is easy. So you can calculate the branch currents across R1 and R3. So what will be the branch currents? So you are only left with this because these two part of the circuit is eliminated completely as there is no current in the circuit. So you are left with the total resistance as 70 ohm, 3 volt. This is 3 volt divided by this 70 ohm. There is the equivalent resistance because both are in series. So you are getting the current as 42.9 milliampere. So this current, this is a series circuit. So I1 will be equal to I3. So both the current will be equal to 42.9 milliampere, and you can calculate the voltages using voltage divide rule. So see 2.14 and 0.86, you are getting the two voltages across 50 ohm and 20 ohm. Okay, so this is easy. Now next, what you do, so this is a step 2. Now you are considering only this source. You are considering only this source. So you have short circuited the voltage part. This is short circuit. Here was the voltage. So this is the short circuit part. So there will be no voltage drops here. And here this part of the circuit is open circuit. Again we are redrawing the circuit. So your circuit becomes like this. Now the direction of current was here in this direction. This was the voltage. This was the flow of current. What did I say? That the polarity of the voltage and the direction of the current, this has to follow as used in the first solution. So this will be constant. So this is the flow of current through R2. This is the flow of current through R3, and this is the flow of current through R1. Okay. This is the flow. This is the voltage terminal. This is the terminals of the polarity of the voltage V1, and this will be the polarity of the voltage terminal across R3, right? And second thing, you look at this. So the current through this is I2. Say this is I2. Okay. So what will be the current here? What is the current flowing here? I2. And this is equal to minus of this current, because here the current flow is shown in this direction. Here I am considering the current flow in this direction. So what will be the current? This will be -1. Here the current will be -1. Okay. So again you calculate this. So you are getting I2 as -1 ampere and I1 plus I2 as I3. From that you are getting the equivalent resistance 44.3 ohm, and you can calculate the individual voltages. See, 30 into -1, 30 volt, 14.3 volt, -14.3 volt. and you are also getting the individual currents I3, I1 and I2. Okay, next again you do the same thing here. So now this has been open circuited, this is short circuited, and this is the current source that we are considering. Now that means here what will be the current? The current through R2 will be 2 amps. The current through R2 will be 2 amps. Right? So what is the voltage across R2? 60 volt. Okay. Now you redraw the circuit. Now if you redraw the circuit, you see you are having these two loops, individual loops. Now these two currents, I1 and I3, this must be equal because they are flowing in the same direction. So here there are no other currents through this R3. So the current flowing through R1 will be the current flowing through R3. And again, you know that the voltages in parallel branches must be equal. So your V1 must be equal to V3. So the current is equal because these two are in series. You are not having any loops here, so no other currents here. If I1 is flowing through this, I1 is flowing through this as well. So this is the same current flowing. Okay. So what will be the condition? So if your V1 has to be equal to V3, I1 has to be equal to I3, but your resistances are not equal. Your voltages must be equal, your currents must be equal, but the resistance is not equal. And this is possible only when I1 is equal to I3 is equal to 0 ampere. Is this clear to everybody, or should I repeat this one? Because this is a little bit tricky. Should I repeat, or is this clear?
Yes, sir. You should. Please repeat, sir.
I will repeat, right? See, if you are redrawing this circuit, this part is open circuited. So you are not having any current in this part, right? So this part is completely eliminated. You are having this as the circuit. So here the current flowing is I2 amps. Here the current flowing is 2 ampere. Okay. So no other current is flowing in this branch. No other current is flowing in this branch. So here you can tell the current across I2 is 2 ampere and the voltage is 30 into 2 ampere is equal to 60 ampere. Right. So see, these two are almost different entities. They are having just one node in common, but you are not having the voltages as common. You are not having the currents as common. So the current through this 50 ampere will be the current through this R3. Here you are having only one loop current. Here is no loops. So across 20 ohms also, the same current will flow as the current flowing through the 50 ohm resistor. Am I right? The current flowing through the 50 ohm resistor will be same as that the current through the 20 ohm resistor. Am I right? So therefore your I1 will be equal to I3, and in parallel branches you know that the voltage is also same. So therefore if the voltage here is V1, this will be equal to V3. For these two branches, therefore the voltages are also same, the currents are also same. So when is this possible? Because you are having the resistances as different. You are having the resistances as different. So if the resistances are different but the voltage and current are same, this is only possible when the current is equal to 0. So as the current is equal to 0, the voltages across this will be also equal to 0. So you are getting this as entirely 0. So you are having only this part of the circuit, because this is a short circuit condition. So only you are having this part of the circuit as the active part. The current is 2 ampere and the voltage is 60 volt. Okay, is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when you write this down, see, we are writing the voltages and currents individually, considering each of the individual sources. So when I consider the voltage, You got the values of I1 as this, I2 as 0, I3 as this, V1, V2, V3, IS1 as this, I2 as this. Next, what you are getting is the total value just by adding up. So if you add up 0.286 ampere and 42.9 milliampere, convert this into ampere, you add this up, you are getting this as 0.329 ampere. So with all the sources turned on, the circuits and currents and voltage across each circuit element will be like this, with all of the sources turned on. So you can calculate that by individually calculating each voltage source or each current source, and then by summing up the individual values that you are getting considering each of the independent sources. So this is about your total current across each element and total voltage across each element. See, if it is minus, we are considering this as minus. So here there is 1 ampere, 2 ampere, minus 1 ampere. So this is 1 ampere. Similarly here minus 0.714 ampere plus 42.9 milliampere. So you are getting this as minus 0.671 ampere. Same for the voltages. Okay, so what does this minus sign indicate? The minus sign indicates that the polarity must be reversed. Okay. So any questions from this one? Any questions? Okay, so if you are not having any questions, no questions, right? Everybody clear? Autono clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I am doing, I am giving you a problem. So you try to solve this problem then. Okay, so let us say, okay, so you try to solve this problem. You use superposition theorem to find out this branch current Ix. Use superposition theorem to find out the branch current Ix. So what you need to do, there are three sources. You need to calculate the values using the individual sources. Okay. So please solve this problem by superposition theorem. Everybody please try this. Everybody please try this problem. So first calculate the current considering 10. Then you consider any one current source, calculate the potential divided. And after that, you can calculate the current by considering the other current source and potential divided. Sorry, current divided rule. It was
Sir, 0.05 ampere and
0.05 ampere. Is this the total current?
Taking 10 volt on, then it's 0.05 ampere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, taking 10 volt, it is 0.05 ampere. Yes. Now find out the total. Then consider 40 ampere.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
for
Yes, sir.
40 ampere, the answer is 30 ampere.
Yes, and for
And
120.
for 120 ampere,
30
the answer is
ampere.
also.
So what is the total current then?
Sir, wait 1 second, sir.
0.05 plus 30 minus 30, and this will give you 0.05 ampere only. Okay. So why is this minus 30 ampere? Because see, this I3 is in the reverse direction as 120 ampere. So this is minus 120 into 50 by 50 plus 150. So this is coming out as minus 30 ampere. And here this will come out as only 30 ampere. So we are just adding this up and we are getting the answer to be 0.05 ampere.
আগে স্লাইডটা একটু দেখাবেন?
এটা
হ্যাঁ স্যার, হ্যাঁ স্যার। থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
ঠিক আছে। আচ্ছা, সো এবারে এইটা করো। So this is another problem of
Sir,
superposition.
last step current plus add করে দিতে পারো?
কোনটা?
So last step total current add করতে লাগবে?
হ্যাঁ, total current add. If you do not add the total current, what is the superposition theorem stating? That the total current across any branch is the algebraic sum of the current by considering the each of the individual sources. So তাই জন্য তোমাকে তো এটা add করতেই হবে. So for the first source you are getting this is 0.05 ampere. For the second source you are getting as plus 30 ampere. For the third source you are getting this is minus 30 ampere. So that is why you need to add this up, add these three parts, and you are getting this as 0.05 ampere. Plus 30 minus 30, this is getting cancelled out and you are getting 0.05 ampere. Okay.
ওকে স্যার।
Yes, sir.
Okay, now you do this problem. You have to calculate the voltage across the 3 ohm resistor, and this is one of the important problems for your exam. Please everybody copy this problem and try to solve this, because this is an important problem for your exams. I'm again repeating, we have been telling, or we have said first day itself that the important problems will be told to you, which are important for your exam. So this is one of the important problems for your exam, so please try to solve this. Yes,
Across 3 ohm actually is 2 volts, sir. It's coming.
considering 4 ampere source, the voltage is coming as 2 volt.
Yes, sir. Across 3 ohm.
Okay, right.
Sir, considering 6 volt on, voltage is 3 volt.
Considering 6 volt, this is 2.5 volt. Just check this. Yes, 3 volt. Right, 3 volt.
Yes, sir.
You just sum up the three resistances, divide it by, and just calculate the voltage by potential divided. Okay, and you are left with the middle part. 5 ভোল্টেরটা কেউ করেছে?
না তাহলে তার আগে স্লাইডটা।
এটা হচ্ছে for using 4 ampere. So using 4 ampere, you see you need to calculate the voltage across 1 ohm, or you calculate the current across this 1 ohm resistance, that is coming out to be 2 by 3 ampere, right? So this 2 by 3 ampere, you calculate this across this 3 volt ohm source, you can calculate the voltage as 2 volt. Okay, and for this 5 ampere source, you are having the voltage, you are just considering the current source as 5 ampere, right? So if you calculate the voltage, or if you calculate the current across this 1 ohm, if you multiply this with the 3 ohm resistance, you get it as minus 2.5 volt. Current divider rule, reciprocal of the voltage, reciprocal of the resistances. So you are getting this as minus 2.5 volt, because you see the voltage, the current is in this direction. So if it is flowing in this direction, this will be minus 2.5 volt, because this is the reverse direction as that of the voltage. So for 5 ampere current source, your voltage is coming out to be 2.5 volt. For 4 ampere current source, the voltage is coming out to be 2 volt, and for the 6 volt voltage source, it is coming out as 3 volt. So you just sum it up and you will get the value as 2.5 volt. Okay, so this is about your,
So can you show the last figure?
yes, this one.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. Wait.
Okay. So if this problem is important for your exams, if this problem comes, you might have different voltages and different current values, but the procedure will be the same as this. The procedure will be same as this.
Sir,
Yes.
can you explain this equation once?
Here it, this one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, see, first just calculate the current across this 3 ohm and 2 ohm part. So this 5 ampere current, this is getting divided into 2 parts. One is through this 1 ohm branch and another is through this 3 ohm and 2 ohm branch. Okay, so this 5 ampere current, so we have to calculate the current across this 3 ohm and 2 ohm branch. So how do you calculate this current? You apply the current divider rule. So what is the current divider rule? That is, if you are calculating the current across say R1, your equation will be I R2 by R1 plus R2. So we are applying this as this only. So the current across this, because current and resistance, these are reciprocal to one another. Current and resistance, these are reciprocal to one another. So therefore this current will be 5 ampere into 1 by 1 plus 2 plus 3. Okay, so this is, from this you are getting the current across this 3 ohm and 2 ohm this series circuit. So 3 ohm 2 ohm, this branch current you are getting, and you multiply with 3, you are getting minus 2.5 volt.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so this is for minus 5 ampere, this is for your 6 volt, and you are getting the total voltage as 2.5 volt. Okay, so next we move on to the Thevenin's theorem. Okay, so Thevenin's theorem, this was first proposed by a French telegraph engineer Emile Thevenin in 1883. So actually Helmholtz first designed this theorem, but the earlier statement was later modified by Thevenin, and we use the Thevenin's theorem now, which is useful to find out the response as a single resistance in a bigger network. So what do we do? So what is the statement of the Thevenin's theorem? The Thevenin's theorem states that the current flowing through a load resistance RL connected across any two terminals A and B of a linear bilateral network. Again, linear bilateral network will be given by the open circuit voltage across the terminals when RL is removed and the internal resistance of the network as viewed back from the open circuited terminal. So we will just go through the steps once. So this will be easy for you. So let us say we are considering any two terminals AB of a network of a linear, passive and bilateral network. So we are considering an equivalent voltage source of VOC and an equivalent resistance RTH in series. Okay. So what is VOC? The voltage VOC, this will be equal to the potential difference between the two terminals when no external resistance is connected across the terminals. This is the open circuit voltage when we have removed the load resistance. And the series resistance RTH is the equivalent resistance with all the sources within the network made inactive or dead and without the load resistance. So we are first removing the load resistance. First thing is the load resistance need to be removed, right? Then we are calculating the open circuit voltage which is appearing across these terminals that were connecting the load resistance. Okay, then we will inactivate all the sources and replace that with their internal resistance, and we will calculate the total Thevenin's equivalent resistance, leaving out the load resistance. So I will show you a problem that will be helpful for you. So let us say we are using Thevenin's theorem to calculate the current through this R2, this branch. R2 2 ohm branch, right? Okay. So first we are designating R2 as load. Please everybody follow this carefully. First we are designating R2 as load, right? Okay. Next we are removing this load resistance. So what you are left with is this part of the circuit. You forget about this load resistance. You are left with this part of the circuit. So you had this resistance, this load resistance is removed, which is the first part. So we are left with R1, R3 and the two voltage sources. Okay. So we are open circuiting this, right? And we are calculating, or we are tagging this two as A and B terminals and this open circuit voltage as VTH or Thevenin's voltage. We are tagging this as VTH or Thevenin's voltage. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you are having two resistances, 4 ohm and 1 ohm. You are having two voltage sources, 28 volt and 7 volt. We are removing the load resistance and we are calculating, or we are considering the voltage across A and B as VTH. So now we will calculate the open circuit voltage. So what will be the open circuit voltage? These two are in series but in opposite direction. Okay, so the resultant voltage will be 28 minus 7 equals to 21 and the summation of the resistance will be 5 ampere. So what you are getting the total voltage as? VAB as 21 by 5 as 4.2 ampere. Okay, so this is the current, 4.2 ampere. This is the current. Now what will be the Thevenin's voltage? If you are considering this, what will be the Thevenin's voltage? This will be 7 volt plus 4 into 1, this 4.2 into 1. So you are getting the Thevenin's voltage as 11.2 volt. Your AB is connected across these two terminals. So you can eliminate this part of the circuit. Okay. You are eliminating this part of the circuit to calculate the voltage. This is out. So you are left with this part of the circuit. You are considering only this part of the circuit. Okay. So when we are considering this part of the circuit, then this is 7 volt plus 4.2 into 1 ampere. So you are getting this as 11.2 volts. This is your Thevenin's voltage. Clear? Okay. Now what we are doing, we are turning off all the voltage sources. So you are left with this circuit only. where R1 and R2 are parallel to one another. When R1 and R2 are parallel to one another, so what you are getting? You are getting the Thevenin's equivalent resistance as 1 into 4 by 1 plus 4. So if these are the two terminals, then you see this is one branch and this is another branch. So R1 and R2 will be parallel to one another. Clear? Until now, before this step, you had only this part of the circuit. You have the voltage sources, so you calculated the current. This was a series circuit, you calculated the current. When you are removing the voltage sources, when you are considering only this Thevenin's open circuit voltage, so these are the two terminals. So this R1 and R2 becomes parallel to one another. And what is the Thevenin's equivalent resistance? This is 0.8 ampere, 0.8 ohm. So you make this a single circuit having the Thevenin's voltage, right? The Thevenin's resistance and the load resistance. The Thevenin's voltage is 11.2 volt. The Thevenin's resistance is 0.8 ohm, and you are having the load resistance 2 ohm. So what will be the value? So this 2 ohm and 0.8 ohm, these two are in series. So the total resistance will be 2.8. So 11.2 divided by 2.8, you are getting the total current through the resistor as 4 ampere. Okay. Is this clear? Thevenin's theorem?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now do this problem then. You have to calculate the current in the ammeter A of resistance 1.5 ohm. And then through this ammeter. So first you need to open circuit or remove this part of the resistance. Okay. So what is the current through this branch? The current through this branch will be equals to 12 by 12 plus 4. This is I1 and this is I2. You have eliminated this in between ammeter. So I1 plus I2 is the total current. I1 is through this 12 ohm and 4 ohm. I2 is through 2 ohm and 6 ohm. So you are getting I1 as 0.75 ampere and I2 as 1.5 ampere. Okay. So what is the open circuit voltage or VAB voltage? This is 0.75. This is the current 0.75 into 4 ohms minus 1.5 into 6 ohm. That is, you are getting this as minus 6 volts. So the voltage, open circuit voltage, you are getting this as minus 6 volts. Right? Similarly, you can calculate the resistances. So this, if you are calculating this, so this 12 ohm and 4 ohm will be parallel to one another, this A to CD part, and this similarly B to CD parts 2 ohm and 6 ohm will be parallel to one another. So you are getting this as 3 and 1.5. So you are summing this up. So you are getting the total Thevenin's resistance as 4.5 ohm. So 4.5 ohm, ammeter's internal resistance as 1.5 ohm. And so what you are getting, the total current? The total current is 6 volt divided by 6 ohms. That is equal to 1 ampere. Okay. So you do this. This is another. এটা রেজিস্ট্যান্সটা
স্যার প্রথম থেকে একবার রিপিট করুন।
Okay. See, this is a Wheatstone bridge given to you. The first condition is remove the load resistance. So we are removing this load resistance. We have to calculate the current through the ammeter. So this is load resistance. We are removing the load resistance. Okay. First thing. Next, let us say I1 is the current through this. I2 is the current through this. Okay. So what will be I1? I1 will be 2. So this is a two parallel branches, CAD একটা branch, CBD একটা branch. So these two are parallel branches. So see, if what will be the total current I1 through CAD? This is 12 by 12 plus 4 is equal to 0.75 ampere, right? I2 will be 12 by 2 plus 6, and that is equal to 1.5 ampere. Clear till now? I1 I2 টা হয়েছে?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next. POC বার করছি, মানে open circuit voltage. So this is equal to VAB. So this can be VAD minus VBD. VAD কত? VAD is I1 into 4. So I1 into 4 means 0.75 into 4. VBD 1.5 into 6. So 1.5 into 4 minus 1.5 into 6. What is the voltage? Minus 6 volt. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We can do the reverse as well, because we can do, that is no problem. We can do 0.75 into 12 and 2 into this also. That is also not a problem. 2 into 1.5 also, that will also give you 6. So your VOC is coming at 6 volt. Now next step, we have to deactivate all the active sources. Okay, and we are calculating the resistance across terminals A and B. We are calculating the resistance across terminals A and B. Okay, so A to C and A to D, these two branches are parallel, 12 ohm and 4 ohm, this part of the circuit. Similarly, B to C and B to D, these two are parallel, 6 ohm and 2 ohm. CD যদি আমরা একটা common terminal ধরে নিই, তাহলে these two are parallel. And this ACB, this is becoming a series one. So we are getting 12 ohm and 4 ohm as 3 ohm. Equivalent resistance of 4 ohm and 12 ohm is 3 ohm. Equivalent resistance of 2 ohm and 6 ohm is 1.5 ohm. We are adding these two up and we are getting the final Thevenin circuit. The VOC is 6 volt. RTH is 3 plus 1.5, মানে 4.5 ohm. Our load resistance was 1.5 ohm. So you sum these two up and you get the current as 6 volt divided by 4.5 plus 1.5, that is 1 ampere. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Anybody is having any doubt? Pritam, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, so next, okay, okay, so this is the same problem as that of the superposition theorem. See, the same problem, but you will be applying here. Okay, somebody. Yes, I will share the PPT, no problem. I share the PPT every day. Okay, so this is the same problem as that of the superposition theorem. You just have a look at this, but now you have to solve this based on Thevenin's theorem, and you have to calculate the voltage across the 3 ohm resistor. So you need to calculate the voltage across the 3 ohm resistor. That is, your 3 ohm resistor will be your load resistor. You have to calculate the current through the 3 ohm resistor and multiply it with by 3. Then only you can get the voltage across the 3 ohm resistor. So this is your load resistance now. So now you calculate the voltage across the Thevenin's by Thevenin's theorem. You already know the answer as 2.5 volt. You remember? You have already done this. You have already got the answer as 2.5 volt for superposition theorem. So by Thevenin's theorem also, the answer should be same. So you calculate this considering this as a load resistance. First remove this, calculate the load voltage, the Thevenin's resistance, and then the Thevenin's current. So please do this. Try it, or else I will show it to you. First try it. Okay, I will just show you this. Okay, not an issue. It's not a problem. Okay, so first thing, we will be treating this 3 ohm resistance or 3 ohm resistance as the load resistance. Okay, so we have to calculate the Thevenin's voltage. So what we are doing, first we are doing source transformation, right? First we are doing source transformation. So you remember, so what we did, 6 volt and 1 ohm. So just consider this branch, 6 volt and 1 ohm. Okay, so for source transformation, a voltage with a resistance in series is converted to a current with the resistance in parallel, right? Okay, so what will this become? What will be the total current become here? 6 ampere. This 6 ampere and this 4 ampere, these two gets added up. So what is the total current here? 10 ampere. What is the resistance? 1 ohm. Current here, this branch is 5 ampere and the resistance here is 2 ohm. First, see if this is clear to everybody. I will just once again. Here, this is 6 volt, a voltage source. Here, this is a 1 ohm resistance. So what we need to do, we need to convert this into the same type of current sources. So already we have two current sources. We will convert this 6 volt into a 6 ampere into a current source. We will convert the voltage source into a current source by source transformation. So what happens in source transformation? A voltage having a resistance in series is converted into a current with the resistance in parallel, right? So just consider this branch. Just consider this branch. One and this one. Just these two. So what these two are becoming? 6 volt divided by 1 ohm. So what is the current? 6 ampere with resistance in parallel, right? So 6 ampere or 4 ampere. What is the total current becoming? 10 ampere. So this is becoming 10 ampere. So see, these two are making up 10 ampere with the 1 ohm in parallel. Again, the 5 ampere with 2 ohm in parallel or 2 ohm in series. See, by using source transformation, we are getting this. Is it clear? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Source transformation. So we are using source transformation. Okay. So you see, so what will be the total current in the circuit? 10 ohm minus 5, 10 ampere minus 5 ampere. So the total current in the circuit is 5 ampere, right? 10 ampere minus 5 ampere. So you can shorten this circuit and write as 5 ampere, 1 ohm and 2 ohm, right? So what is the Thevenin's voltage coming out to be? VTH is coming out to be 5 volt. The voltage across these terminals will be the voltage across AB, because in parallel the voltage remains equal. So the open circuit voltage AB is equal to this terminal voltage 5 into 1, that is equal to 5 volt. Right? Now we are calculating the Thevenin's resistance. So Thevenin's resistance will be simply 3 ohm. The Thevenin's resistance will be simply 3 ohm. Now you can calculate the current, or you can just apply. So this is the Thevenin's circuit. This is the Thevenin circuit, 5 volt, 3 ohm and 3 ohm. So you can apply the voltage divide rule and you will get the voltage as 2.5 volt. So first we are doing source transformation. So this is the first criteria of Thevenin's theorem. We have to make all the sources of similar type. So if you are having voltage source and current source, both sources existing in a circuit, we first need to convert them and make them as a single type of source. So if it's a voltage source, so all must be voltage sources. If it's a current source, all must be current sources. Here we had two current sources and one voltage source. So we converted that voltage source into a current source. We found out a single current source, the resistance, the open circuit voltage, and the total Thevenin's resistance, and then we calculated the voltage across the load resistance. Clear to everybody? If it is not clear, you can ask me. I will repeat this once again. If this is not clear, you can tell me. We will repeat this once again. Otanu, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And anybody, any questions? Anybody? Oritrika, any question?
No, sir, it's clear.
Okay. Shreyoshi, is this clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. So,
Sir, V is equal to IR. So, voltage across this load resistance is this V5 into Y3 by 3 plus 3, sir.
this one,
Yes, sir.
this is the final Thevenin's equivalent circuit, and then we are applying the voltage divide rule. So VTH is 5. You can calculate the current and then multiply it with 3 as well. Or we have just applied the voltage divider rule here. See 3 ohm and 3 ohm. So there will be a voltage drop here. There will be a voltage drop here. So how do you calculate it by voltage divide rule? That particular resistance across which you are calculating the voltage divided by the total resistance. So 3 divided by 3 plus 3, 6. And this is the Thevenin's voltage 5. ঠিক আছে? Okay. Now next thing is, so this was all about the independent sources. So now next one, this is important because we will be doing this for Thevenin's voltage, Thevenin's equivalent voltage, and that will be for dependent sources. Okay. So when I am consisting of dependent sources, when I am considering a circuit for dependent sources, I am considering Thevenin's theorem for dependent sources for two cases. So first case is when the circuit contains both dependent and independent sources. The first case is when the circuit is consisting of both dependent and independent sources. So first thing what we do, the open circuit voltage is determined as usual with sources activated. Okay. Now a short circuit is applied across the terminal AB and the value of short circuit current ISC is found out as usual. So first what we are doing, we are calculating the open circuit voltage, then we are calculating the short circuit current, and then the Thevenin's resistance is VOC by ISC. We are calculating the open circuit voltage by considering all the sources active. Then we are calculating the short circuit current by short circuiting the terminal AB. Okay. And then we are calculating the Thevenin's resistance as VOC by ISC. This is for the case when you have the dependent as well as the independent source. But when you have only dependent sources, in this case, your VOC will be 0. So what we do, we connect a 1 ampere source to this terminal and calculate the value of VAB. This is done. So please keep the steps in mind. First is when the circuit is consisting of both dependent and independent sources, you simply calculate the open circuit voltage by previous method. You do not go for this equivalent resistance by calculating from backwards, but what you do, you short circuit the load resistance terminal or the load resistance branch and you calculate the short circuit current. And if you divide the open circuit voltage with this short circuit current, you get the Thevenin's equivalent resistance, RTH. Okay. And the other case is when you are having only the dependent sources. In this scenario, your VOC will be 0. So what you do, you connect a 1 ampere source across the terminals AB, that is across the terminals of the load resistance, and you calculate the voltage VAB. So what will be the Thevenin's resistance? This will be VAB by 1. This will be the Thevenin's resistance, VAB by 1. So let us see what happens. So let us say we are considering this circuit, right? We are considering this circuit. So we have to calculate the Thevenin's equivalent circuit across this terminal A and B. Okay. So you are having this voltage source whose value is given to you 10 volt. You are having a resistance R1 which is 10 ohms. You are having a dependent voltage source 0.49 V2 and you are having a current that is equal to 10I. That is a 10I current source. You are having a resistance R2 and you are calculating the voltage V2 across terminals A and B. Clear? So what will be your VTH? Your VTH, that is V2, will be 100 multiplied by 10 into I. Just simply this 100 multiplied by this current. The voltage across this terminal will be the voltage of V2 across this AB. So this is equal to 1000 I. What is I? I is Vs minus 0.49 V2 by R1. So Vs is 10, 0.49 V2 by 10. So you are getting I as I minus 0.049 V2. So you are getting two equations, you see. One is V2 equals to 1000 I. Another is I is equal to 1 minus 0.049 V2. Okay. So from this you can calculate and you find that your I is coming out at 0.02 ampere and VTH or V2 is coming as 20 volt. Is this clear? Is this clear how to calculate the open circuit voltage? I am repeating this once again. You see, you are given this circuit. So you are having a voltage source given to you. You have a dependent voltage source. You have a dependent current source. You have R2 and you have V2. So you are calculating this V2. This is the open circuit voltage. So what is V2? 10I multiplied with R2. So 10I multiplied with 100. So that is 1000 I. So your V2 is equal to VTH, which is equal to 1000 I. Right? Okay. Next, your I, this will be equals to 10 minus 0.049 V2 by 10. 10 minus 0.49 V2 by 10. So you are again getting an equation for I and V2. Okay. So your V2 is coming out as 1 minus 49 I. And your I is coming out as 0.02 and VTH is coming out as 20 volt. So you have got your VTH, which is 20 volt, right? Next, you need to calculate the short circuit current. What is the short circuit current? If you just join this, if you short circuit terminals A and B, this current will only flow through short circuit because this part of this R2 will be eliminated. So your ISC will be equals to 10I. Okay. and your V2 is equal to 0. So this is becoming 0. V2 is becoming 0. For short circuit condition, the voltage is 0. So your V2 is 0. So if your V2 is 0, your 0.49 V2 is also equal to 0. So this is you are getting as Vs minus 0.49 V2, that is Vs minus 0 by R1, that is 10 minus 0 by 10, that is I is coming out to be 1 ampere. So your ISC, which is 10I, will be equals to 10 ampere. So you have to calculate the Thevenin's equivalent resistance. So your VTH you have found out to be 2 ohm, and your ISC as VTH as 20 volt, ISC as 10 ampere. So your RTH will be equals to 2 ohm. Is this clear? Is this clear? This example with dependent voltage sources. Shubhadeep, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Man, this is clear, Man?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are stopping here today. We will on Thursday we will practice some more problems on Thevenin's theorem for independent sources as well as dependent sources. Then we will move on to Norton's theorem, and I will share this PPT today. And if mesh analysis, loop analysis, this is clear to everybody, source conversion, start delta. If these 4 topics are clear to all, please respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will be sending an assignment today on these 4 topics. So please solve it by next Sunday if this is clear to you. And we will again on Thursday we will do problems on this Thevenin's theorem and your start off with Norton's theorem. So now please respond to the attendance. Akash Datta, Aritrika Ganguly,
Present, sir.
Otanu Sana,